All right, SOFI update here on the 28th. So the S&P took a different route. I think everybody was expecting it to make a corrective move I'll show you real quick. I think everybody was pretty much expecting it to stop in this little area right here. And instead, it just went straight down through that. And that completely changes everything. And I talked about that in the SOFI video last night. I was just saying there's a chance that we just keep on going down here. And if that happens, we're going down to 10 bucks. So I said that's a possibility. And I also said that it's a possibility that we just go like this up here, fill the gap at 13 and then 1144, and then we go up. That was if the S&P made an ABC move and went up to like 5,900, which is clearly not going to happen now. I give that very little chance of happening now. And so now we're just looking at this again at the second possibility now, which is WXYZ, double XZ. So we have WXY, double XZ. My target is $10.10. If you look at where the 1.61 fib is to get there, it's actually exactly on the 1144 gap fill. These algos know how to position everything perfectly. So 1144 down here. And I think we'll see a little bit of weakness on Monday, and then we'll start bouncing. My target for a bounce is going to be anywhere from basically 1224. Could go all the way up here to 13 bucks to fill the gap. But I think if we go all the way down here to 1144, it's more likely we get a shallow retrace. Because I'm not expecting the market to bounce that much, and then $10.10. I don't think this is going to be a 5-wave move or anything like that. It's going to be an ABC move. If you look back at this move, the first couple of moves, this one was A, B, C, A, B, C. C wave was an impulse down. This fell a little bit short of the 1.61 fib. So that whole thing was A, B, C, W, X, and then we got A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The interesting part about this, I was measuring to see if which wave was longer, and they're the exact same. They're literally the exact same. Goes right to the exact, these are the exact same length. So it made it pretty simple to get a target. Just take this, put it at the top here, and there you go, $10.10. So then you can just take this, figure out where the 1.61 fib is, and ironically, it's right at the gap fill. So it made it pretty easy to project what's going to happen. A, B, C, like that, down here to 10.10, and then that should be completion. We should be done there 100%. The reason being, that's a 333 right there. That is a 5-wave move in a different way. So the whole thing is W, X, Y, double X, Z. It's a funky corrective move, and it's very tricky as well. The S&P is a little bit different. I think the S&P is a double 3. This is a triple 3. So where are we looking at? We're looking at support around 10.10. Now we can just look at what moving averages are down there. And it looks like we're probably going to break the 200 DMA. More than likely. So now we look down here. We have support by the 50 at 1060, and then we have support at the 200 on the weekly. We do not want to lose that. I think we should hold that. So I think we're going to lose every moving average except for the 200 on the weekly. Another thing I was looking at when I was looking at the weekly is like, oh, it kind of looks like a 5-wave move, but and you could definitely view it like that. It doesn't really matter at this point. I think we see a lower low. But target is definitely just $10.10. I don't think we lose the 200 on the weekly though. So we're going to hold that. And then the question becomes, is that the entire move? Or are we going to have, is that only an A wave? That could just be an A wave right here. We bounce and come lower. It's possible, because if this was just an ABC move, then $10.10 doesn't even get us to the 0.5 fib. So don't be surprised if we bounce from there, have a nice bounce, and then come down here to that $9 level I've been talking about, maybe even lower than that. Maybe we come down here all the way to the parallel line at $8. So I don't know if this will be the end of the move or not. I just know the projection for this move only. And then the question is, do we go to all-time highs, or do we bounce and come lower? If we look at the S&P, just to kind of get an idea, there's a gap at 53.50. There's also a gap down here at 5,008, or 5,080, I mean. Based on what I see from SOFI, we're probably only going to come down here to 53.50. And then I would expect a pretty big bounce. And other stocks are saying the same thing. However, I think there's a very good chance at this point that we see a deeper correction. I think there's a chance that the S&P can go all the way back down to 4,800, maybe even 4,600. But if we go like this down to 53.50, let's take the 1.61 fib and just see where that takes us. Takes us down to 4,900, so maybe we go a little bit lower than this, because I've been looking at a few options here, and the end of potentially a diagonal of the first wave ended here. The top of January 2022 was at 4,800. We could potentially be looking at a diagonal here. Something like that. Still go to 8,000 on the S&P, but we have a pretty deep correction similar to this. So we got to watch out for that. So now going back to SOFI and putting it all together, that would mean 53.50 on S&P could be the bottom and we go to new all-time highs, or we could bounce and go lower. So on SOFI, that would mean probably $10, bounce back up here like that, and then come down here and make a new low. Or we hit 10.10 and we start going higher. If 10.10 is the low and that's it, where would the projection be for the next move higher? I would probably be looking for it to be WXY on the higher time frames too. Let's just say 10.10 is the bottom. I'd be looking for something up here around $44. So if 10.10 is the bottom, how can we get to $44? I'd be looking for something. I hit it pretty good. I'd probably be looking for something up here from $10 straight up to about $20. That would be A, pullback B, and a C wave up here. So it'd be the same structure as this. Be A, B, C, W, X, A, B, C, Y. And then we would crash, because the overall market would be at 7,000, 8,000. We'd probably have a market crash. So I think that SOFI, if it hits 10.10, could go straight up to $44, or we end up going like this down here to, who knows, single digit somewhere. And if that happens, then you're still looking at a huge move higher. You're still looking at a move to $30, $40, but it's not as high as if we stop here at 10.10. So that's my thoughts on SOFI. All the projections that I'm doing on the long-term time frame don't mean that much right now. Just focus on the smaller time frame. It looks to me like we are in a final ABC move down here. Target is $10.10, and I think we're going to hold the weekly on the 200, and then have a nice bounce. That bounce could go all the way to anywhere from probably $13.65, potentially all the way up here to $16. We're having trouble get up there to $16 so far. Hopefully it hits after we bottom. All right, this is a pretty long video. That's it from me. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe for more updates. If you like the analysis, you can always donate, buy me a coffee to help the channel. And that's it. Have a good weekend.